Hi everybody, welcome back to Art Time Today. I'm Cheryl Smith and I'm going to be your art teacher. Today we're going to be making an abstract art using cut paper. So something like this, we can make it so it's bumpy and 3D, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Or you can make it and glue it completely flat, which would be 2D. That's up to you because you're the artist. If you remember, abstract art is art that's made up of lines and shapes and colors. And so I have my painting here that was done by Vasily Kandinsky. And he was a master of abstract painting. And I wanted to bring this one back to show you that we're going to be making lines, straight lines, curved lines, maybe some zigzag lines, and then we're going to put them together. But this time we're not going to be drawing them, we're going to be cutting them. So your artwork is going to be a cut paper collage because we'll be gluing the different shapes together. So what you're going to need to start with is a paper to glue everything to. And if you have some colored construction paper, that's real cool. If you just have white, that works out absolutely the same. It's fine. It'll be the background color. So this is a choice that you will make. And then you need some smaller papers that you're going to cut up. If you have colored paper, you might only need a half of a sheet, but you don't even need a full half. You'll need a few different colors. So you might want to take a piece and have your grown-ups cut the paper down for you a little bit. Or if you can, just cut a piece in half. And so you have some different colors to work with. You do want to use some different colors. Now, if you don't have any colored construction paper at your house, you can use some white printer paper from your printer, and you can color it. All you have to do is get your markers or crayons, fill the whole page with different kinds of colors, and then you can use this to cut out your straight lines, curved lines, zigzag lines. So you can use white paper, you can use colored paper, and if you have no colored paper, just color your white paper. That makes sense, right? I think so. I think it'll be fun whichever way you decide to do it. So once you get all set up, what you're going to want to do is decide which paper is going to have straight lines, which one will have curvy lines, and which one will have zigzags. That's your decision as well. What I like to do is draw the line first on the page. So my orange paper that I used for this one right here, my orange paper, I drew wavy lines on, curved lines. So what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to use a black marker to draw so you can see it okay. You might be better off using a pencil so that when you go to glue it, you don't have black marker lines all over the place. So I'm going to draw a couple of curved lines, just maybe 2 curved lines on here, but I'm going to go from top to bottom all the way down. So I'm going to hold this right here. Can we see that? And I'm going to go just like nice little hills. There's one curved line or wavy line, and here is one more. You can make it bumpier or not so bumpy. Remember, you're going to cut it out. So if you get it really, really wiggly, it's going to take you a little bit longer to cut. So make a nice line that you're able to cut out. Then on this one, on my yellow one, I drew straight lines. And so on this little yellow one, I decide I'll just go ahead and draw some straight lines. You can draw them any way you want. So I'm going to do a straight line from the top to the bottom. And I'm going to do another straight line. This time, I'm going to make a straight line that kind of goes from the side. It kind of looks like a backwards Y. Boop. If you look through it, Would it look like a real Y? Not that much. So anyway, so I drew some lines. I'm going to cut these out in a minute. And then the next one I have is my green. And I didn't make this a smaller one. It doesn't matter. I'm going to leave this as a big, but I'm going to make zigzag. Remember, zig, zag, zig, zag, zig. And you can go boop, 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 all across your paper. So here I go. I'm going to go across the long way because I want some long pieces. So here I go. Zig, zag. Remember, you're going to cut this out. So don't start making teeny tinies. Zig, zag, zig, zag, zig. I'm going to stop there. And like I did on the straight line page, I'm going to make a zigzag that goes sideways. Because then I'm going to end up with a couple of super cool shapes. So, next step is to start cutting. And I'm going to start cutting. Get scissors that are right for your age. If you're older, you can use scissors with sharper points. If you are younger, you want to use scissors with rounded points. I don't seem to have any of those around here right now, but only let your grown-ups use the great big scissors, and make sure that you have permission and maybe a grown-up around while you're cutting. So what you're going to do is start cutting on your lines. And the best way to cut a zigzag, I'm going to hold my scissors straight. I'm going to turn this way. Can you pick that up okay? Okay, I'm going to do a snip, snip, and I'm going to get to this point. And instead of making my arm go backwards and crazy, I'm going to turn the paper. It's like a magical thing that's so easy, it makes complete sense. So turn the paper, snip, snip. Which way are my scissors pointing? Are they pointing toward me? Oh, no, 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 never. And where is this hand? Is it under where I'm cutting? Oh, no, 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 no. That is never a good idea. So I'm holding the paper very carefully away from where my scissors are. I get to a point, I turn, snip, 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 turn, keep your fingers away, snip, 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 and then keep on cutting all of your pages until you have cut out every one of your shapes. So I'm going to keep cutting and cutting and cut. Look, this is going, woo! And this is cool. It's like a little crown. Save all your pieces because we're going to use those to make our abstract 3D artwork. So I'm going to keep on cutting, and you should too. When you're cutting your curved lines, what's going to happen is as you take a bite with your scissors, your other hand is going to move the paper. You're not twisting your hands back and forth. You let your other hand be your helper and move the paper. It makes it easier to try to stay on your lines. I'm not even staying on my lines all the way, but as you cut, if you can have your other hand help you bend and turn the paper, it makes the cutting so much easier. So when you're finished cutting and you've got all of your pieces cut out, put them in a pile and maybe put them off to the side a little bit. You're going to decide which ones you use. You may not use them all on one paper. You may end up making 2 abstract collages out of them. We'll see. That's up to you. So you want a paper that you're going to glue it down to. So I have chosen black. because I have green, orange, and yellow, and it shows up really, really well on the black paper. I don't want to pick green for the background because the green doesn't show up all that well. And this orange is a different color orange. So if you had something like that, that'd be okay. But pay attention to what you're gluing it to make sure that your colors pop out and it's super bright and beautiful. So decide on your background. Once you decide on your background, we're going to start the gluing process. So I'm not going to give you much direction here, except cool ways to make your flat pieces of paper look 3D. So you can pick any one of these that you want. You might, for this, you might want to start with one of the longer pieces instead of one of the big fancy shapes. But I'm going to start out with my orange wavy or curved line piece. And I'm going to fold a tiny little piece. I'm just going to pinch a little piece back. And I'm going to pinch another little piece back. Just pinch it back like that. What that's doing is it's going to give me something to glue and put the glue on. So I'm going to make sure that my glue works. You can use a glue stick. You can use Elmer's glue or any kind of household white glue. Glue sticks work fine if that's what you have. Up to you. I just happen to have my art glue that I'll be using today. So the other thing about glue, is you don't want to put too much because you don't want the glue to gush out everywhere. So I say a little dabble do ya. Just a little teeny tiny bit, because you'll be surprised. You're just gluing paper to paper. You're not trying to glue a concrete block to your ceiling. You need a lot of glue for that, and probably bolts and everything else. A little dabble do ya, you're gluing paper to paper. So, little folded edge. I'm going to put, because this is a teeny tiny space, one drip. Boop. Can you see that? One drip of glue. And I'm going to put one on one side and one, boop, on the other. It doesn't look like much, but it will work. So I'm going to take my little paper, I'm going to make a bump in it, and I'm going to put it down on my paper any place I want. So now the boing, it boinged up. So I'm going to relocate it. Now this is when you can boinged up again. Okay, get your fingers on there, hold it tight. And you know how we're washing our hands for 20 seconds and singing happy birthday or whatever song you've decided? You can start singing right now or just count to 20 and hold that down. So I'm not going to do that all the way to 20 because this would take forever. So I'm holding it down long enough for it to stick. And then we're going to do this with a lot of the other pieces so that it doesn't, see if it boings up. If it does, you just have to add a little more, maybe one more drip of glue. And I think that's going to hold just fine. I'm going to show you something else cool. You have your straight line little rectangle, but it's made out of straight lines. You can turn this into a zigzag without any cutting, or stairs by folding over, folding back, folding over, folding back, folding over, back, over, back. Okay? Boop, boop, boop. Squeeze it tight. Woo, 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 woo. Now you can put glue on one of your flats. How much? A little dabble do ya. One drip. Boop. Come on. One little drip. And I'm just going to put one drip on this one end and put this down somewhere on my paper. Do your counting thing. I'm not going to do it so long because, like I said, we'll be here a long time. So do your little counting thing. Hold it down. Next, you might want to get one of your shapes This is the shape that was cut out of which paper? Was it the wavy line paper? Was it the straight edge paper? No. This was cut out of the zigzag paper. You are correct. So what you might want to do with this, you have a couple of choices. You could glue it flat to make an area on there, or you could fold a piece of it over and glue that down. What do you think that looks like? It's up to your imagination. So I'm going to, see this space here? This is big enough for 3 drips. So I'm going to go drip, drip, drip. Now, the other thing I want you to look at, am I putting that drip touching the corner? No, because as soon as you do that, out gushes the glue. So put the drips toward the middle. It'll hold it just fine. I'm going to flip this over, push it down. Let me turn this so you can see. And I'm going to hold it and do your counting, singing, you know, whatever you want to do for a good while so it sticks really well. But if I did this right, I can even now pick up my whole paper with the one I glued on first. It's amazing. And then my little zigzaggy, I can even glue the zigzag to another piece. I'll do one more with you and then you'll be on your own. Here's a piece that I want to glue it like this. Can you just glue on an edge like that? It doesn't work that well because there's nothing to glue it to. So remember what we do? Fold over just a little bit of an edge. So once you fold that edge, that gives you something to put the glue on and it should hold up. This long strip, I'm doing 3. And it's not very wide, so 1, 2, 3. Flip it. Push it down. Count to 20 or 12 or 37 and a half, whatever you want. Hold it down, it'll stick nicely. Remember, it's paper to paper. And if you do a good job, you won't see too much glue sticking out on the paper. And that makes it look a little bit neater. So I've got to show you one more thing. I'm going to fold a piece of my other shape over because this is really cool. And maybe if your older brothers and sisters want to help, I want to put this on so it's not straight. I want to make it bend. So what I'm going to do is I folded my edge and now I'm going to snip from the edge to the fold about 4 or 5 times in this little space. And when you snip that, it'll bend. So now when you go to glue it, you're going to put 1 dribble of glue on each of these little pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiny drips. And when you glue it on, you can bend it and stick it down. So I have to hold it tight and get all my fingers working together. Count, count, count until you get so that this is going to stick down. This one's going to want to pop up because that piece of paper doesn't really want to bend like that. It was very happy being flat. So after you make this super awesome abstract 3D, because it's high and wide and long, it has 3 things. That's why we call it 3D. It has length and width and height. If you did it flat, like this, without making anything bend, that's called 2D. It just has length and width, but no height. So 2D, length and width are 1, 2, 2D, 2-dimensional. 3D abstract collage. I hope you had fun making it. You can do all kinds of fun things with cut paper. And I hope that you continue to make time for art time. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.